Hey, I'm Jay Beershank. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're here for another edition of the High Paying International Work Series, and we're going to touch on the pay for commercial fishing that I personally made. Okay? If you haven't already, you should go and watch the first video that I made, which just talks about what commercial fishing is and what I'm talking about particularly, okay? Because I want to be very transparent that I did not personally make a lot of money doing this, okay? It did not work out very well for me, but that is not because it is a bad opportunity. That is because the conditions under which I fished were not ideal for me to make the maximum amount of money. But I did still have $10,000 months. Okay, so I'm saying I didn't make a lot of money, but if you think $10,000 in a month is a pretty good month for you, well then that is very low ball for this industry. Okay, I was expecting to make around $20,000 to $25,000 in a month, so I was very let down when I made only 10 at the best month that I had. Okay, but I want to say right now that it's conditional. Okay, so my particular situation was not the same as someone right next to me on a different boat. Okay, my very first year, 2022, I believe. I'm not sure if that's the exact year, but anyway, it was my first time on a gill netter. I was with a brand new captain who had never fished before on his own boat. This is a very risky situation to get into because you don't know if that captain can perform. The captain's never performed himself. It's just a very risky thing to do because you want to get onto a boat that has a track record of performing well and catching a lot of fish, because the amount of pay you get will be conditional on not only the price of the fish that year, but how much you catch and the contract you can negotiate in terms of percentage you will make of total payout, okay? So, first year I had a good percentage. I was making around 7%, okay? We ended up only catching 40,000 plus, like maybe 45,000 pounds of fish. This year, particularly, the salmon price was incredibly high, okay? I believe it was $1.25 or $1.30, so $1.30 per pound, okay? This was an amazing year, okay? I'm telling you, I did not do well this year. I got absolutely trashed, but I met very many people that were up there for their first year having $40,000 months, okay? Many people had $40,000 months, okay? And they did not do anything differently than I did, okay? I mean, obviously they caught more fish and they had to work harder, but we're all still out there doing the exact same thing, okay? So, that first year, I made 4,000. If I have it, I don't think I have contracts or things that can pop up because this was like direct deposit into my account for my captain, okay? It's not like some kind of a pay stub or something like that that I can pop up like Australian mining, okay? So, my first year, I got this job. I got my foot in the door. I was a greenhorn, okay? So then the next year, I was able to get in on a very prestigious, big double jet boat that had a good track record of always catching, over 200,000, even around 300,000 pounds of fish, okay? This is historically a very good amount of fish to catch, and historically on this boat, the other deckhands that I was talking to and I was with, they were very used to making $45,000 and $50,000 in this particular season of gill netting, which only lasts a little bit over a month. Okay, so the second year I went up, we ended up doing very well. We caught around 300,000 pounds of salmon, which is pretty good, obviously. If you compare that to my 40,000 pound year the previous year, it's 10 times more. So we caught a lot of fish. But the price was terrible. I think the price this year of fish was only 50 cents. So even though I was the opposite situation of last year where we caught a ton, the price was so low that those fish weren't worth anything, okay? So even though it was not the best year, I still made $8,000 that particular month doing gill netting, okay? You might think that $8,000 is a pretty good month, and it's not bad. I'm not saying that, especially because during this job, it's an all expenses paid job. So I'm on the boat, I'm living on the boat, I'm eating on the boat, I'm working on the boat, I don't have a single expense, and then I get off the boat and I'm paid, okay? The way that gill netting works is you get paid once when you get off the boat, and then you either get paid another time, maybe a month later after everything's settled, and then you get paid once more in the spring as like kind of like a profit sharing rebate pay, okay? So I believe I got $6,000, then I got another $1,000, and then I got another $1,000 in the spring, okay? But I ended up making $8,000 then. Immediately after leaving the gill netter, I got on a plane and I flew straight to, where was it? I don't know where I flew to. Somewhere else in Southeast Alaska, and I hopped on a seiner, okay? I worked on this seiner as a lead stacker, okay? There's a big net and the bottom has lead, metal, and the top has buoys, so it floats and sinks. I stacked the side of the net that had the lead. Anyway, I did this job for exactly 1 month. This was a very good, very good year. For this particular seiner, we caught just below 1 million pounds of small, I believe it's pink salmon and chums, okay? So 1 million pounds is a very good amount, and the price was not terrific, but it was not bad. This was obviously the same year that we had just had the low price, okay? These fish were priced a little bit differently, and we caught so much that it actually worked out okay. But in exactly 1 month of working, I made $10,000, okay? And again, I got off the boat and I made maybe $6,000 with a check, and then I got paid my the remainder over the next month or two, okay? So in the 2 months of working, I made 18,000 United States dollars with having zero expenses, okay? So for some people, you may say, well, that's not very much money. That's not worth it. For some people, making $18,000 cash would be an amazing party, okay? For me, I've traveled full time, and commercial fishing was one of the first times I ever actually took a risk with a high paying contract job. So for me, I was happy with that second year where I made 18 grand, but obviously it was nothing compared to the expectations I had in my mind, where I was thinking maybe I was going to come away with 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000, okay? Obviously not that. But like I said, it's very conditional just on the year, how much you catch, and the percentage that you negotiate with your captain. On that big double jet boat, I was not able to negotiate a high percentage because I had only fished one time on a terrible boat. They did not have the confidence in me, and I didn't have the negotiating power to negotiate a percentage like 7. I only got, I believe, 4% on that bigger gill netter, okay? So that also is why I only made 8,000, but the low percentage and the low price of fish was the biggest reason, okay? So those were my experiences with commercial fishing. Like I said, I'm not talking about insane numbers, but I will tell you that I networked with many other fishermen up there, and it is not uncommon for someone to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month doing this type of fishing, okay? So that's the realistic pay. It's very hard to put my finger on a realistic pay because there are so many variables, okay? And you can never really know what you're going to make because you never really know what the price of the fish is going to be. And you never really know how well your boat will do that year. That's why it is important when you're applying to these jobs to try your best to get on the best possible boat. But a lot of times as a greenhorn, which means going up for your first time, you will not have a lot of negotiating power to get on any kind of established boat, because established boats have established crews because they are making money and they want to keep that job. Obviously, if you have a job where you can make 50 grand in a month, you're going to do everything you can to keep that job. And it's good for the captains, because if the captains have the guys that are coming back every year, the same guys, they can build a relationship, they can build a kind of, flow in how the boat runs, and if that makes it all more efficient, which means everybody will make more money. So yeah, that's how it all goes. That's a breakdown of the pay. I can't pop up any pay stubs really because, like I said, it's just kind of direct deposit from my captains. So that's the breakdown right there, and I'll catch you guys on the next video where I will talk more about different types of commercial fishing jobs, because aside from being a deckhand, you can work a tender, which is a completely different kind of job. I'm making these videos on my YouTube channel now currently so I can alert people that I am creating a school group around high-paying international contract jobs so people can make more money. And also, all of the jobs I talk about do not require a degree or any experience. And then after you make these amounts of money, if you want to, other aspects of my school group, the online community, will also be about how to do short-term investments, long-term investments, and setting up location-independent income and long-term wealth strategies, okay? If this doesn't interest you, I've also been traveling for the past decade full time. And so in this group, I will also share how you can work the high paying contract jobs. And then if you want, you can take this money and travel full time and do that with the minimal amount of money while having the maximum amount of experience. What I mean by maximum amount of experience is whatever that is that you may want. I promise you that I have been able to figure out how to achieve those things over the past decade of traveling, and I have very many tips and tricks which I will share. And then this community will grow. As the community grows, these kind of word of mouth, high paying contract jobs will become easier and easier for people within the group to secure without any effort. So that's why I'm making these videos. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.